Hello and welcome once again to yet another Wind in the Willows video blog review. This is for The Great Steamer. So here we are in 2019, it's spring, well into spring now, and we will, as always, press play on the video. So let's just do this now. So I'm pressing play right now. There we go. Okay, so The Great Steamer. This is one from series 1, so an early episode, and it shows it, you know, you can tell it's a very early one. It's an interesting one. I've known this one for years. I mean, this one has been widely available on video since the 80s. It was always the first episode on the Spring Follies video, which was one of those seasonal ones that has been available all the time, you know, released over and over again. And eventually on DVD, of course. But this one, I like it. It's special to me for that reason, because it's definitely a nostalgic visit, this one. But it is unusual in that two of the main characters aren't in this one. So no sign of Toad and no sign of Badger. This is one, as you can see, written by Rosemary Ann Sisson. She originated the storylines for all 13 episodes in series 1. But this one is completely written by her, the script, and it's lovely. It's one about peril, about danger, and there is humour, as there always is in the script, but it's you know, there's gentle humour in it. So we can tell it's early spring, the way the narrator's talking about the last of the melted snow there. And there's been a lot of rain here in 2019. The weather's actually getting pretty good now. I think the wind and rain has passed, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So we open with this lovely scene here of the youngsters. Would have been a pain to animate, of course, with so many characters. All playing games around Ratty's house, hide and seek, and all sorts of games. Playing in Ratty's boat there. There it is. Billy, of course, he becomes the main character in this, and we'll find out as the story goes on. Nice shot there, panning up to the window. Now, the title of this one is interesting because it's called The Great Steamer. The steamer itself we don't actually see, but it is the centre of the whole episode. It doesn't come in until wouldn't say halfway, but it's still quite a bit to go before we get to the actual steamer. And the steamer is a threat on the riverbank, as we'll see. But as I was saying about the early qualities of this episode, you can just tell by the way not only by the way the puppets look, you know, their appearance, you know, they're brightened up a lot in later series, but just the way they're animated as well. It's got a certain, very difficult to describe, but it's a very sort of jumpy style, a very kind of you know, it was more smoothed out in later episodes. And here we go into this song, We'll Go Boating. I've spoken to Barry Purvis and Sue Pugh about this. They animated this one together. It was directed by none other than Jackie Cockle, and this song apparently, and it would have been so repetitive, because it's just, this is just the first time we hear it in the episode, but it's reprised later on. And you see the way Ratty's fingers are pressing the keys there. The keys on the piano actually go down, so that the piano prop was beautifully made, and in a way that the keys could just go down like real keys. Now, getting Ratty to play the exact notes would have been near to impossible, but it's believable. You know, they got it as close as possible, and it is at least on the beat. So he's pressing a chord where the chord should be. You know? I like this joke. Elbow. I wish elbow grease existed. I can imagine it in the shops. Elbow grease. I remember. I think when I first sort of saw this, I didn't quite understand it, because I thought elbow grease was a product. And I think my parents explained it to me. So we're back to We'll Go Boating, so yet another scene to animate. Ratty's hands just endlessly going like this, he's nodding his head in time with it. Nice shots of Mole sort of getting into it. And it's nice here, this animation of Mole sort of looking there, and then they both turn. Laughing about elbow grease still. Now what I like about this is there is a sense somehow that there's something bad's going to happen. There's just this sense, and I think part of it is that there's a lot of silence apart from Ratty playing the piano, but there's no background music, no incidental music going on. Just, I don't know, we just get that sense that something is going to happen. I like this, I like the way this is shot. So zooming out the window, panning along, we're seeing the youngsters going. And this is where that sense of danger is exaggerated even more here. I actually own a copy of this on 16mm. One day on eBay I was able to pick up a couple of episodes, this one and the Grand Annual Show, so both from Series 1. Beautiful film reels, got them down here somewhere. Oh, here we are. Yeah, so 16mm film reels. So these are the ones that would have been used, well, televised this way. So here we go, Wind in the Willows. What does it say on it? Say somewhere on the box. Yeah, so it just says Wind in the Willows, but I know that one of them's a great steamer and one of them's the Grand Annual Show. But I love these. I mean, I'd love to be able to play them, but I haven't got enough equipment, unfortunately. Maybe one day. It'd be lovely to preserve them in HD one day. But we'll see. Now, here we go, this is the steamer. Now, lots of lovely animation of the lighting and artefacts in Ratty's house shaking. We don't know what it is yet. Look at that animation of glass breaking and all sorts of tricky stuff to animate there. You notice when the picture fell down there, little remains of what would have been blue tack, which wouldn't have been the way Ratty would have hung his picture. It would have been a nail and that's the way the prop was held. Not sure about that. So there we go. So back to that title of the episode, The Great Steamer. That's it. The steamer's been and gone, and it's only mentioned once. So there's Ratty kind of concerned for his boat again. I love the lighting in this. So you can see it's night time now. Lovely moonlight. Beautiful. So there's that concern now. Billy's missing. The steamer's gone by. And what's happened to him? So there's a lot of darkness, a lot of worry and concern. So he's been found now, so that's good. There's hope. So that's very good storytelling. Well, I spoke to Peter Saunders recently of Mackinnon Saunders, and he remembers this episode, and he thought it was a good one. Apart from the repetitiveness of the song "We'll Go Boating," he thought that was bad program making because it's almost an excuse just to fill an episode. And as you'll see at the end of this, we have the whole song. Love the effect of the bottle there. I think some of this was quite tricky to animate. You've got that thick substance again in the water to give it that the thick quality that you need to be able to put things on it and animate things in it. But any scenes on the riverbank would have been difficult.
Of course I am, Retty. I always feel quite safe with you. You're safe, Billy. I know you will.
Isn't there something you can do, Mr. Rat?
No, there isn't. Just don't move from here. It's so dangerous.
I mentioned miniatures before. You can tell here that these are the miniatures of Ratty and Mole. And the scale was a bit odd then because you had the actual real size puppets of the youngsters. So there were no miniatures of the youngsters made. The Ratty and Mole miniatures then, they were almost, in that shot just then, the same size as the youngsters. But it works, they got away with it. Lovely pieces of music playing here. I was lucky enough to be able to get a CD given to me by Keith Hopwood back in 2002. He gave me a CD of incidental music. The songs, of course, were released on CD with some of that incidental music, and in 2009, I think, and available now. But I've still got some tracks that, to my knowledge, have not been released anywhere else. And this is one of them. And they are simply called the Wildwood, these tracks, the Wildwood 1 and the Wildwood 2. But obviously it works for things like this. Now this here with the weir, Tony Brown had done a lot of research into this, and he gave me some access to photos of the research. So they actually went to real weirs. They looked at how it could be done. I'm not quite sure how the effect was achieved in the episode. But there's some lovely shots coming up again soon as well. Now this is interesting. We don't often see Ratty and Mole like this. Mole's very upset with Ratty for turning around, but he doesn't know what Ratty's doing. Ratty literally pushed Mole there, grabbed the oars back. You very rarely see that side to them. Miniatures again there.
Jump ashore, Mo. I won't do as you're told if you want to save Billy. How? If I just rode straight up to the weir, we'd have gone over and taken Billy with us. This way, I've a chance. Now, hang on to that, Mo, and don't let go whatever you do.
So Mole feels guilty now, of course. That's his character. Feels guilty for ever thinking the lowest of Ratty there. Nice little smile there. We know that they're the best of friends, but Ratty, of course, wants to save Billy as much as Mole does. Now these shots, beautifully done. I think it would have been just cling film or something under there, like a thin sheet, and then lots of sheets of cling film behind it, and just animated randomly. I mean, I've done shots like that, and then you have a light glowing behind it. I think it was achieved like that. But this weir is never mentioned again in any other episode, but we assume it's not too far from Ratty's house, somewhere along the riverbank. Quite dangerous to think that it's there. Now the scale thing issue again, you can see Ratty is almost as small as Billy there. You could almost accept that Billy's more in the foreground, but you see the proper scale there, so that's the full-size Ratty. With Billy, with the full-size boat, so there would have been two boats, a full-size one and a more miniature one. I love the weight there, the tension of the rope and Mole and all the other youngsters pulling. It really worked, beautifully done. And the rowing, whenever you see rowing shots like that, there have been track or markers laid out. I was told that tracks were used for boats and anything else on the river. So a rig underneath, built underneath, and then you can animate it smoothly, and you would have followed a track, you would have had measurements. When I've done vehicles and things, and I would have used the same approach. We have tape down on the ground, as long as it's out of camera, and you just mark. And I use IKEA tape. If you ever go to IKEA, those measurement strips you can get, the paper ones, they're really useful. And you've got the lovely coziness again, haven't you? So you've got all the outdoors there, nice and cosy when we go back in. So very hospitable ratties, you know, even though he's told them to go home, but they just went through some worry there, especially poor old Billy. So they all get treated to soup and get to warm up. It couldn't be more cosy, could it? So again, a lot of these costumes exist still. Difficult to identify them because they're much smaller than others, and they're all a bit random and jumbled up at the moment the way they're stored. But the archive are working hard to properly archive everything, and I've done my best to identify things. And some of them I recognise, some pop up. A couple of the caps and jackets that you see in this episode still exist today. Ratty's jumpers, of course, and scarves, cravats, and so on. That music you can still hear there is it's either the Wildwood 1 or the Wildwood 2 again. So obviously written for the Wildwood, but as I say, used in other scenes and sequences. I think Ratty looks a bit odd in that shot just there, and that smile, but that's where the Allen key would have been in one of his ears and turned almost to max. So you get that real creased smile, and wouldn't have been good for the latex. Push it that far. So we go again back to We'll Go Boating. So this is the version now that is released on the CD that you can buy. And it's nice to have Mole joining in now. But yeah, I can imagine the animation on this would have been so repetitive with just the hands and the head. I mean, I guess I kind of agree. You could argue there's bad program making, it's just a filler. You know, the episode's not over yet, so to get the length, you fill it with a song. Maybe it was that Rosemary Ann Sisson's script was a bit short, so they just expanded it with this. Keith Hopwood and Malcolm Rowe approached and asked to write a song. That's probably how it went. But like I say, I like it. This holds a lot of memories for me. That Spring Follies video, it was my brother's. I could put it behind me there somewhere. I had the Winter Tales video, he had the Spring Follies one. Nice having the field mice all joining in, singing along. So those notes aren't quite right, are they? That was the left hand going up. It should have been the right hand going down. So does it? Nice dancing there though from the field mice. And then when I interviewed Keith Hopwood a while back for the research I'm doing, and we talked a bit about the songs, and he brought up this one because on the CD that was released in 2009, he tarted some of the songs up, he spruced them up, added some backing sounds, really made them sound really nice. And he said this one was the one that needed the most work. He said he couldn't just release it on CD in the way it was, because he said it sounds just like a demo, you know, it's just Peter Sallis playing on sounds like he's just playing on a piano. But it works, as he said, in the context of the programme, of the episode. But for CD it needed something, so he added tambourines, and there's a beautiful rhythm to it. But he also said, obviously in those days, they didn't have a click track, so it wasn't absolutely in time. And if you add these digital effects, so it would have been a tambourine but not a real tambourine, if you add that and you just layer it on, it then goes out of sync, so you've got to bend it. He said on each beat you've got to kind of bend it and make it fit. But it sounds marvellous. If you haven't got the CD, I'd highly recommend it. So there we go, that's The Great Steamer. Series 1 credits again, so we've mentioned some of these people before. Some of them I know, some of them I've met, some of them no longer with us sadly, but lots of wonderful people that made this programme possible and made it as beautiful as it was. So, the Great Steamer. So, as I say, a bit of an unusual one with just Ratty and Mole and the youngsters, but a classic episode. I always think of that as a real classic, just because of how long it's been available in video and so widely seen in that sense, as opposed to many other episodes. So there we go. So this week, I know I've been a bit late with posting this, but there is going to be a bonus episode. So I've promised I'm going to be doing one of those every 4 weeks. So this is the first of those. So the bonus episodes are basically the episodes from Series 5. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be the Chief's Return, which is the first one from Series 5, so also known as the Oh Mr. Toad series. So if you have a look out for that video, and we'll crack on with that. So thanks very much, and otherwise, see you next Sunday for, see the episode, Burglary at Toad Hall, another Series 1 episode. Alright, thanks very much, and see you soon.